This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, New Zealand's National Day is commemorated across the South with events on in several centres. Coastal locals have vented their frustrations at city officials in relation to lead in their water supply. And there's a new scooter company in Dunedin set to put the squeeze on Lime scooters. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. Aotearoa's National Day was celebrated across the South on Saturday with gatherings held in Queenstown and Bluff. Organisers say it's important to celebrate community and the treaty partnership on the day.
About 500 people attended the Waitangi Day celebrations at the Te Rau Araha Marae in Bluff, where the tribal chiefs signed the original treaty 180 years ago.
There were three places in the South Island, Te Waiponua, where the treaty was signed. That was at Banks Peninsula, in Otago, and Ruapuki, just across the water there. So for Maitahu we celebrate the turnabout. 1 year here, another one Otago, another one up at Banks Peninsula in Ornu. So yeah, that's why we're assembled here today. It's our turn here today.
Ngāi Tahu leader Sir Tipene O'Regan spoke of his hopes for a growing partnership between the Crown and the local tribe, especially regarding the tribe's sovereign authority over rivers and lakes in the area. Skerritt says the Treaty of 1840 formally paved the way for the colonisation of New Zealand with positive results.
And so people came here from overseas and they go through a citizenship ceremony, then they've got a right to call themselves a Kiwi, and that's something pretty special. The children, they're born Kiwis.
Meanwhile in Queenstown, the Waitangi Day celebrations were a multicultural affair. Hundreds gathered on Earnslaw Park on a perfect summer's day to enjoy the carnival-like atmosphere, which began with Kori Ratahi's Waiata group. The Indonesian community performed using angklungs made of bamboo tubes, and the Queenstown and Southern Lakes Pipe Band was accompanied by Irish dancers. The day was also set to include the annual Reggae in the Park concert, celebrating the birthday of Bob Marley, who had performed songs of peace, love and inclusivity up to his death from cancer at age 36 in 1981. In Invercargill and Queenstown, the South Today.
A warning, some people may find the following story and video footage disturbing. About 30 protected red-billed gulls were killed as two cars and a quad bike sped around Dunedin's Royal Albatross Centre car park early on Saturday. Staff were upset to discover dead birds, empty beer bottles and skid marks throughout the parking lot. The incident was captured on CCTV and has been reported to police. Staff say up to 1,000 chicks can congregate in the car park in the evenings, and it's only a matter of luck that more birds were not killed. This comes after remote cameras caught 6 separate incidents of vehicles killing protected black-billed gulls on a Canterbury riverbed. Penalties for killing or disturbing protected wildlife can be up to 5 years imprisonment or a $300,000 fine. Locals are venting their frustrations on Dunedin's Mayor and City Council staff regarding lead contamination in the drinking water at Waikaiti and Karatane. Free blood testing of residents went on offer today, but laboratory results won't come back for another 2 days.
Hawkins is over there. Why aren't you up there and why don't you show some leadership? Because you've shown none.
Why is our mayor not standing up there? Why is he hiding down there?
Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins gets a hammering for not staying on stage as 500 people packed the East Otago Events Centre Hall in Waikaiti to show their concerns and frustrations with the council's handling of contaminated drinking water. Residents of Waikaiti and Karatane have been told not to drink tap water since last Tuesday after lead was detected. Locals are understandably frustrated and asking why a lead reading that was more than 40 times the amount considered acceptable did not result in council action.
I want an external investigation into the conduct of the DCC.
Earlier that day, Dunedin City Council Chief Executive Sandy Graham indicated she should have been informed about the sporadic spikes in lead levels 6 months ago, even though that may not have changed the council's process in dealing with the issue.
So look, I would have expected just to have a heads up, and the staff would have told me at that time that they had sought advice and they were following it, but it would have been on my radar and I would have made sure that I was kept up to date, at which point some of those other spikes, we might have interrogated differently. But again, I don't know that that would have changed the outcome because we sought advice and we have followed that advice.
Southern District Health Board Medical Officer of Health, Dr Susan Jack, says the amount of lead absorbed by people differs from person to person, and the free blood tests on offer will indicate the seriousness of the situation.
We all absorb lead in a slightly different way, depending on our age, our body size, our nutritional status, our diet, can all have an impact. Some people may be affected much more harshly than others, even with the same exposure of lead. So it's not just a simple, we're exposed to this much lead and then everybody is going to have the same outcome from that.
Blood tests started today, but it's expected to take 2 days for the laboratory to return the results. Many residents are also fearful of the lead content in the fruit and vegetables they've been growing and irrigating with tap water.
We've also got fruit trees that are laid on the fruit. Is that going to be contaminated because we've used the water to keep them alive and keep them growing? I'm just so scared to even eat anything out of my own garden now.
Free fruit and vegetables are now being made available at Waikawaiti, and the council is continuing to tanker in uncontaminated water. In Waikawaiti and Karatane, the South Today.
The struggles of Dunedin Railways over a year affected by COVID-19 has led to a group of companies owned by the Dunedin City Council posting a deficit. Much of the loss came from the decision in April to put the Taieri Gorge Tourist Railway into hibernation. As a result, Dunedin City Holdings Limited recorded a net deficit of over $5 million in the year to June 2020. This is down from the $1.5 million profit they've been hoping for. Train trips have since been run on a trial basis to test whether a domestic market can be established. E-scooter company Neuron NZ have chosen Dunedin as the first South Island city for its vehicles. The company says they've designed and built their scooters from the ground up with an emphasis on safety.
250 of these bright orange scooters are hitting Dunedin streets. Neuron began in Singapore in 2016 and have been spreading globally since. Southern Regional Manager Adam Mewison says their scooters have been developed with a safety-first ethos.
We're a vertically integrated company, so we do our own software, our firmware and our hardware. So we don't go and get a scooter off the shelf from a third party. We build it from the ground up for commercial rideshare, and it helps us instill at the core safety.
The fleet will be available to hire across Dunedin Central, North Dunedin, South Dunedin and Musselburgh, making the city the second in New Zealand after Auckland to operate the distinctive bright orange e-scooters. Mewison says amongst the vehicle's many safety features is an inbuilt speaker, which announces changes as the ride is in progress.
If you go from a high-speed area into a low-speed area and your scooter starts to slow down, we don't want you to think, oh, why is that happening, and pull out your phone while you're riding. It will announce you're entering a slow-speed area or you're entering a no-service area.
Helmets are also attached to each scooter, and a voice message reminds users to wear them.
Remember to wear a helmet before you ride.
However, that's not the only incentive set to guide people toward safer scooting.
From there, yes, this makes sure they're there. Yes, we make recommendations, so the speaker will tell you, remember to use your helmet. We're going to tell them on the app, use your helmet. But that financial incentive is what really gets people picking it up and utilising it.
The vehicle's speed is limited to 10 kilometres an hour in high pedestrian areas through geofencing technology. There's also a button which will call 111 in an emergency should the vehicle be on its side unexpectedly. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. Queenstown struggles in the wake of COVID-19. And Dunedin's Otago Girls High School celebrates its 150th year.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Welcome back. 2 men have been arrested after a gun incident in Invercargill last night. Police say officers carried out 2 warrants at Lawn Street in the suburb of Glengarry at about 5 p.m. yesterday as part of an ongoing investigation. A 21-year-old man and a 35-year-old man were arrested. They are set to appear at Invercargill District Court this week facing firearms charges. Queenstown's shops, restaurants and tourism operations could be boarded up by the time overseas visitors return to the tourist resort. That's the fear of local Mayor Jim Bolt. New research shows Otago and Southland are among the 4 regions expected to be most negatively affected by COVID-19. Queenstown is predicted to be most impacted by the now almost non-existent overseas tourism. Mayor Jim Bolt says there are some long faces around town after hopes of a trans-Tasman bubble in the short term have been dashed. After closing down the tourist ventures, it will be hard to find people and resources to start back up when tourists do come back. He says while domestic tourism has been a welcome confidence booster for Queenstown, the end of the summer holidays have seen visitor numbers dropping away to nearly nothing. Dunedin's Otago Girls High School celebrates its 150th year throughout 2021. Staff and pupils have taken on period costume representing young women who've been educated at the school over the years.
Remembering the school's groundbreaking founders and the woman who campaigned for the school to exist, Learmonth Dalrymple.
It took us 7 years of campaigning. Between 700 and 800 letters were written by her. She did petitions. She had huge support from the Otago Daily Times and the Otago Witness, which were the 2 papers in the area at the time. But it was against a backdrop of extreme prejudice against young women being educated. So it was quite a feat for her to have fought so hard and managed to convince the powers that be that the girls deserved an education just as much as the boys.
Otago Girls High School's 150th anniversary celebrations began this week with the blessing of a new carved pare above the entranceway to the school's historic hall.
Well, one of the really special things this morning was the installation of our pare. So that's a carved entranceway into our school, which depicts the history of the school and the links between the school and tangata whenua, and also a link to the prisoners from Parihaka who laid the foundation stones for the school.
Linda Miller says many of the senior pupils researched and devised the older style games being played on the school's fields. Senior pupil Renata Herrera Rojas says it's an unusual honour to be at the school during this historic time.
I think in a way it's kind of weird because you never think that you're going to be part of historical events, you know, in like a lifetime of the school or just like the city or whatever. But I think it's just like a really amazing privilege to be able to be here and celebrate and look back and look forward into all of these new things that are going to happen, and it's really exciting.
The confident and loquacious 17-year-old has advice for school pupils and people the world over, regardless of where they are in life.
Just wherever you are in time, I think it's just good to enjoy the moment, you know, and just like, even though you might look back on things and be like, oh, I wish things were like that now, or I wish things were like that in the future and I was living in that. I think it's just really important to enjoy the moment where you are, because it's just really special to live at any time, you know.
Linda Miller says there were many more 150th anniversary events planned for the start of the year, but the school decided to delay some events until Labour weekend due to COVID-19. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, researchers look into the effects of 1080 on New Zealand birdsong, and we check out tomorrow's weather.
What have you got?
Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent.
Love it! Chicks World! Chicks World!
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Welcome to Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have no shortage of stock. Check these out. We've got the Dunedin print t-shirts. Check out our zillions of short sleeve shirts. These are crackers. They iron themselves in the wash. Iron cheetah they're called. And there's some really cool polo shirts. Look at all the bright colours. And of course there's no shortage of shorts. This is always one of our brightest corners. Our long sleeve fashion shirts. Jeans, casual trousers, dress trousers, you name it, we have you covered.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So if you're shopping for your family or yourself, come and see Alex Campbell Menswear stores. We're full of stock.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Welcome back. Researchers have debunked a common claim that 1080 poison silences the birdsong in New Zealand's pest-plagued forests. Aerial drops of the contentious poison remain one of the Department of Conservation's most effective tools at beating back pest numbers. An estimated 26 million native birds are killed by predators each year. Almost 4,000 native species, including kiwi, kakapo and kokako, are now threatened with extinction. A just-published study has quashed the myth that large drops lead to mass bird die-offs. Scientists compared recordings taken before and after drops and also compared them with untreated sites nearby, finding little evidence of short-term effects on local native bird communities. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. New Zealand's National Day is commemorated across the South with events on in several centres. Coastal locals have vented their frustrations at city officials in relation to lead in their water supply. And there's a new scooter company in Dunedin set to put the squeeze on Lime scooters. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Hayden.
Good evening, Sophie. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Good. Tuesday after a long weekend. Sometimes we're scrabbling around for news, but not this weekend. There's plenty happening. Obviously, lead in the water and Karatani and Wakaiti continues. Big day today. Today was the start of the sort of mass blood testing program up there. So we popped up for a bit of a look, and people seemed in pretty good spirits all in all. I think people keen to get in, get tested, and find out what's happening. It was also the first day of the sort of fruit and veggie dish out. There's huge bags of fruit and veggies everywhere being handed out to the residents. So I think it's an important day. I think it's an important few days as people are getting tested to find out if they have been exposed to too much lead in their water. I note this afternoon the DCC announcing the two most recent tests in the past few days, again coming back with extremely low to no detectable lead levels at all, which is a promising sign. So that carries on. It's an ongoing story. I'm sure we'll hear more as the week goes.
Right.
And an interesting yarn out of the West Coast tomorrow. We all know the effect that COVID-19 has had on Queenstown. In fact, Jim Bolt just this morning telling us he's very concerned that the future, by the time proper tourism comes back, there'll be nothing left for the tourists to see. But West Coast doing it pretty tough too, and the story we've got tomorrow is from our friends at the Grey Star, and it's the people in Fox Glacier and Franz Josef Glacier talking about how difficult life is for them. The towns have started to empty out, basically. The fire brigades talked about it's just been decimated. It's hardly got any volunteers left because people have left. And the local mayor saying, unfortunately, he thinks things will get worse and that area will hit rock bottom before the recovery begins. So, it's an interesting part of New Zealand, a lovely part of New Zealand, and something I think a lot of people will be interested in. And a completely different topic, we have a chat to Darren Smith. So Darren's the chef at Dunedin's first five-star hotel, Fable Dunedin, which is the old Wayne's Hotel. It looks quite a lovely place, and he's talked to us and offered a few choice recipes, including his take on good old Kiwi cheese rolls, which I'm sure will be very interesting.
Good.
And it's Burt Munro week down there in Southland, Burt Munro Challenge. It all kicks off tomorrow and continues for a few days. So we've got a couple of stories. A nice yarn on a young Mosgiel lad, Cole Scammell, who's 23. He goes very, very fast around the motorcycle track. I think he's on a Suzuki. He's going to be blatting it around at Teretonga, so we've had a chat to him. We've also caught up with a pair of brothers who have come down from the North Island for the first time to show off their bikes. So it's a huge week for Southland, and we'll be all over it, covering it from go to O. So yeah, that's it, and heaps of other interesting bits and pieces, no doubt.
Lots of news. Wonderful. Thank you, Hayden. And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Starting with the southern view, taken of campaigners in front of Dunedin's courthouse. Looking at the situation, the depression will deepen over southern New Zealand tomorrow, with a westerly airflow increasing over Otago and colder southwesterly airflow strengthening over Southland. Widespread showers are likely. Temperatures will be rather cold on Thursday and Friday as the low pressure system moves slowly away. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, thunderstorms and 16 degrees for Greymouth and Westport. To the northeast, partial cloud with 23 degrees in Blenheim and 22 in Nelson. In Canterbury, partial cloud in Kaikoura with 20 degrees and scattered showers further south with 22 in Christchurch and 21 in Ashburton. To the southern towns, southwesterlies, showers and 15 degrees for the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. To central, gusty westerlies and a few showers for all centres with 16 degrees in Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra and 15 degrees in Te Anau. To the northern towns, on the coast, fresh westerlies and fine with 22 degrees in Timaru and 21 in Oamaru. Inland, strong westerlies, some cloud and 18 degrees in Twizel and Omarama. In Dunedin, rain tonight with southwesterlies freshening and a low of 10. Changeable tomorrow with skies often cloudy and frequent showers, but some sunny periods too. It will be cool with moderate to fresh westerly winds, a high of 18 and a low of 11. Strong gusty westerlies on Thursday with any morning showers clearing and mostly fine with sunny periods and high cloud, a high of 20 and a low of 12. And in Invercargill, rain tonight with a low of 11. Cloudy tomorrow with periods of rain, moderate southerly quarter winds becoming strong and gusty later in the day, a high of 15 and a low of 9. Cloudy with showers on Thursday and strong cool southwesterlies decreasing slowly, showers clearing late in the day, a high of 14 and a low of 8. That's all for our news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.